Hi there everybody. On today's video I just have a few tips to give you as we approach the winter months, and perhaps the temperatures will be dropping a bit, and you just want to make sure that a few essentials in your car are okay, and that way you are confident, you have the confidence to be driving. So the important things I would normally check under the bonnet are the coolant. In this case, I can see the coolant is up to there, is this orange color here. If there's no coolant, your bottle will look more like that color there, a little bit transparent. If that was the case, you want to make sure you have top up some coolant. Since this is a general video for any car, I'm not going to give you specifics of what coolant would go on this specific car. That's something that you can check with your local parts supplier, such as Halfords or whatnot. Another very important thing going into winter is make sure your screen wash fluid bottle is full, and don't just put water in there. Make sure you put the proper stuff, some screen wash fluid that doesn't freeze. So if the temperatures are below minus whatever 5, minus 0, 0, minus 1, minus 5, whatever, if there's only water in there, it can freeze, and then you will have no water coming out for your windscreen, which means usually if you're in a motorway, if it's been snowing or whatever, the windscreen gets really, really dirty, and then you can't see anything and you can't get any water out of there because it's frozen. So make sure you put the proper stuff in there. It's cheap enough. Again, you can buy that from Halfords online, Amazon, eBay, anywhere. You can buy the ready mix fluid, or you can mix it yourself if you buy the concentrated fluid. And also, I would recommend you to carry perhaps something like this, a 5-liter bottle in the boot, which would be very helpful. If you run out of fluid, you can top it up as you go, because sometimes that happens. It often happens that people run out of fluid. So those are really important things to check. And same goes for the coolant. If you only put water in there and you don't put the proper coolant, antifreeze, that can freeze, and it can actually damage the engine, because that water would freeze in the engine. It could damage the water pump and whatnot. So antifreeze can be of different colors as well. So this one here is orange, so you might get blue, green, pink looking, or even I think I've seen yellow, but not 100% about that. But anyway, those are quite essential for you driving every day. Check your oil. In this case, we have a dipstick here, and on the dipstick, most dipsticks will have 2 little marks where you can actually check your oil. So to the left we would have the low, and to the right we would have the full. So in this case, in this dipstick, that would be low and that would be normal, that would be full. If you're somewhere in between, then you're okay. If you're down here, you want to top up a little bit. So check your oil. Again, these are really easy things to do. It will take you 5 minutes to actually have a look at all of these. And then another thing is, I would always recommend, especially in these winter months, if there is an accident or something on the road and you get stuck, you could always have some water. Have some water in the car, drinking water. Just take it in the boot, and perhaps have some chocolate. Chocolate is always good at any time. And Another important thing I would check, of course, is that all the lights are working. Brake lights, side lights, front lights, high beam, low beam. Make sure all your lights are working. And then also here in the boot, it always seems to be overlooked, but make sure you have all your tools and your spare tire. So some cars these days don't have a spare tire. They actually just have some liquid, some like a puncture repair kit. Even then, make sure you have and you know where your puncture repair kit is. And also make sure you know where your locking wheel nut is, because if you don't know where that is, then you wouldn't be able to remove the tire from the car. So here we have a jack, and we have that as well. That's to remove the studs on the wheels, and obviously that is for the locking wheel nut. And the tire here, this tire is always overlooked by everyone. Usually, even garages, when you take it for a service, sometimes people forget to check the tire pressure on this, and I often find they are flat. They are completely flat, so they never been checked. So again, you have a puncture, you remove the wheel, remove your wheel, and you try to fit this, and this is also flat. So that's it, you're stuck again. And another thing, make sure this opens freely, because sometimes when you don't actually when you haven't removed this wheel for a long time, this gets so stuck, it's really hard to undo. So again, just check it, make sure you can undo it in case you need to remove this tire. But go ahead and remove it, take this tire out and pump it. You might find that it's flat, like I did just now. And again, make sure you have all your tools, jack, the bar, locking wheel nut, perhaps a screwdriver. In this particular car, the studs have these little covers on them. So in order to remove these little covers, you may need to use a screwdriver, or usually there's a little pin in these cars, in this particular model, to pull them out. But I think only VWs have that little cover. Audis have a slightly different cover, and all other cars, I haven't seen any covers on them. So those are really really important things to check. I think with that I can conclude my video here, giving you those tips. Perhaps actually one more thing, it's a good idea to carry a blanket in the car. If you're stuck in a long queue and you can't keep the car running because it's going to run out of petrol or whatever, it'll be a good idea to have a blanket to keep warm. So water, chocolate, blanket, and of course make sure all the essentials are in good working order. So make sure you have coolant, screen wash fluid, and your tire at the back has got the tools and some air. One more thing, make sure you obviously have petrol in the car. So often people would go out driving in a motorway or somewhere with reserve on the tank, and again, if you get stuck somewhere, you're gonna quickly run out of fuel. So make sure you always keep your fuel at the top, or at least half. Having said that, probably missed a few things, but I think for me those are quite important. Hope the video helps. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video. So thank you for watching.